2026 is ramping up, and if you're playing on PlayStation 5, there are a bunch of games to look forward to. So today, we're rounding up 20 PlayStation 5 games releasing in 2026. Now, keep in mind, we can't fit everything, but we tried to cram 20 of the games we're the most excited about. Also, keep in mind that some of these games don't have rock-solid release dates, so let's get started off with number 20. Blood of the Dawnwalker has a lot of potential. Essentially, some of the people behind The Witcher 3 spun up their own new studio and are making this vampire RPG where you play as a guy tasked with exploring this world ruled by vampires, and you can play during the day or play at night with your vampiric powers. The game's got a tight narrative and a really strong focus around accomplishing your goal in a limited period of time, but they've been talking this up quite a bit, and it looks like it's still going to offer plenty of good RPG stuff, areas to explore, side quests and side stories to pursue. And like I said at the start, it just has a lot of potential. From the music, to the atmosphere, to the setting. This looks like what the doctor ordered, if you like vampire stuff. But they are a new studio, so we'll see how it goes, but we're really hoping that they knock it out of the park just because it's a cool idea. And a kind of vampire spiritual successor to The Witcher is just something I would like to play. Next over at number 19, we have Marvel's Wolverine, or as I like to call it, Insomniac's Wolverine. Insomniac, the studio, of course, behind the big Spider-Man games, are putting their claws into Wolverine and tackling one of our favorite superheroes of all time. The guy is rough around the edges, he's unique, and he's violent, and the game is really embracing that. We got a good look at it like last year with a really gory trailer, but not only is there gore, but there's tons of just cool shit to see if you're a fan of X-Men or specifically Wolverine. I'm really hoping they can tell a really interesting, nuanced story about Wolverine that feels different from the Wolverine we've seen in popular culture. You know, just like how it's been hard for Iron Man to escape the shadow of Robert Downey Jr., so is Wolverine and Hugh Jackman, but I'm hoping a new spin on the character can really show people that there is so much more to Wolverine than what they've seen on the big screen. Mystique's in it, he's fighting Omega Red, he's fighting Sentinels, that's stuff I want to see, but sorry if I'm getting too in the comic book weeds. Either way, right now we know that this is releasing fall 2026. Next at number 18, 007 First Light. This is a new James Bond game with a new James Bond actor, specifically set around building out his origin, how he becomes a 00 agent. Seemingly, we're going to see a James Bond like as an agent in training. And I think there's a lot of potential there, but still, it does look like the game is providing cool fashion, cool watches, cool gadgets, cool cars, ladies, adventure, explosions, shootouts, mystery. And the people working on the game, I think, are the right people for the job. IO Interactive, the people behind the Hitman games, where if you've played the most recent Hitman World of Assassination games, you know that those games are really good about social stealth, creativity, ingenuity, spycraft, all that. So I really think if they can add some cinematic action to that formula, they could have some success on their hands here. Either way though, Bond is a very tricky thing to nail down in terms of feel. It's a very unique franchise, and I'm curious to see how this new take on it is gonna go. It was recently delayed, but it's still releasing in 2026. As of right now, it's May 27th. Next over at number 17, we have Crimson Desert, the next big game from the people behind Black Desert Online. This is like a big old single-player RPG adventure that looks incredibly ambitious. One part Witcher, one part Skyrim, one part Dragon's Dogma, one part a million other things you can think of. This game has so many gameplay mechanics, from the questing to the side quests, to the way your character fights, to the way your character traverses. It's incredibly complex. I'm really curious to see if they can pull it off, because not only is the game pretty complex from a third-person action RPG standpoint, but also it looks pretty gorgeous. So if they can really keep all that together, Crimson Desert has the potential to be a massive game, a big game world with lots of quests and lots of battles to keep busy in. As of right now, it's releasing March 19th, 2026. Next, over at number 16, Hellraiser is back in a video game with Clive Barker's Hellraiser revival. This is really exciting because Hellraiser is incredibly unique. It's really, really gross stuff. It's also very interesting, very unique, very good horror. So if they can really take that IP and run with it, I think they have a recipe for something cool on their hands. And we're not getting like an asymmetrical horror game or anything like that. No, we're getting a full-on single-player adventure here in first person, featuring all the elements from that original movie. The developers behind this definitely know what they're doing, and I hope this is good. Because honestly, that last Hellraiser movie didn't really do it for me. A lot of people forgot that even came out a few years back. But Hellraiser Revival is releasing some point in 2026. Now at number 15, we have Pragmata. This is a new game from Capcom, completely new IP. You're like this astronaut spaceman with a little android girl on your shoulder. You're adventuring through space stations and ruined cities, and you're fighting off these cool robots with a really unique gameplay perspective. It's one part Dead Space where you're stomping around, shooting enemies in third person, but also the little girl on your shoulder, because she's a robot, she can hack the enemies. So it's actually a bit more complicated than you'd expect. What I'm curious to see is the story they tell. What made Capcom say, yes, this is a new franchise we want to build out? I'm curious to see what made them take the risk here, take the spin on something new and completely different, because I love to be surprised. I like to see new things, and we always need more new things in the gaming world. Looking forward to seeing what the deal actually is with this one when it releases April 24th. Next, over at number 14, Directive 8020. The people behind Until Dawn and the Dark Pictures Anthology and The Quarry are back with another horror game experience with the whole cinematic thing, but this time around, they're going full sci-fi scary horror, and I think this looks absolutely awesome. From the visuals, yes, but also to the grotesque creature designs, the gore, and the actors they have here. It just seems like it could be really interesting. You're alone in space, the crew is desperate, something evil is afoot. It's just a recipe for good old sci-fi horror if you like those types of things, and no release date yet for this one, but we know it's sometime in 2026. Next, over at number 13, Housemarque's newest game is Saros. This is the people most recently behind Returnal. This time around, they're sticking to that gameplay style, the challenging third-person bullet hell shoot 'em up, but with a greater emphasis on story. And I love to see that here, from the actor on display to the atmosphere and vibe and tone. Saros just looks incredibly unique. And if they nail it, and Housemarque does have a tendency to really do well with this stuff, this could be one of the bigger PS5 exclusives of the year. As of right now, it's releasing April 30th, 2026. Next at number 12, we have John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. This is another game that takes a new spin on the Left 4 Dead formula. Just cooperative, chaotic action against the undead. But this just looks cool. There's a lot of action centered around an armored vehicle and just some more creative characters. Visually, this looks like there's just a lot going on. A lot of zombies and monsters on screen, a lot of gore. But honestly, sometimes you just gotta be in the mood for one of these types of games, and this could hit right smack in the middle of March before a lot of other big game releases. This is releasing March 12th, 2026. Next at number 11, we have Reanimal. This is the next game from the people behind Little Nightmares 1 and 2. They didn't do Little Nightmares 3. They went off and spun off their own studio, and they're kind of doing a spiritual successor. This looks a little different though. Monstrous creatures that kind of look like animals, characters that have a little bit more agency, but still that signature, very unique, spooky style with little quirky characters. I am so excited for this. I love the games these guys make, and I'm excited to see what they're doing now as a fresh new studio with a different publisher behind them. We don't have to wait too long either to see what they've cooked up, because this is releasing February 13th, 2026. Next at number 10, Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight is, in a lot of ways, kind of like a Lego Batman Arkham game. Yes, the gameplay is more simplified, but you're going to be able to be Lego Batman gliding and exploring a Gotham City, hopping in your Batmobile, and beating up bad guys with a similar combat system. Along with that, though, the more exciting thing about the game to me personally is that this is just a love letter to Batman all across mediums, right? From the Batman Arkham games, yes, but also the movies, the comic books, the TV shows, everything. The game is chock full of references from what I've seen and experienced behind the scenes, and I'm really excited to see this go down. I know Lego games aren't for everybody, but maybe you have an inner child like me, or maybe you play with siblings or your own children or whatever. Either way, this looks like this is going to be a ton of fun. Just good, clean Batman fun, and that's all I want. It's releasing May 29th, 2026. Next, down at number 9, Mouse, PI for Hire. Check this one out if you haven't seen it. This is probably one of the more independent games on this list of pretty big heavy hitters with a lot of publishing money behind it, but Mouse PI for Hire started as a very small project by one developer that has ballooned into this really cool, old school style cartoon first-person shooter adventures. Think of something kind of like the art style of Cuphead, a little bit of a different era, but kind of that style, that hand-drawn, lovingly crafted animation, but a kind of black and white noir detective first-person shooter. This just looks absolutely awesome. It's got big band music behind it, like real actual music, voice acting, and this just could be a hell of a unique experience. We haven't seen something like this. This is fresh. This is cool. I can't wait to check this out when this releases March 19th. Next at number 8, Remedy is back with the sequel to Control. This is Control Resonant. And they're not just resting on their laurels. You're not just playing as Jesse Faden again. You're not just doing more third-person shooting and superpower stuff, which was really cool. No, they're changing it up, and now it's kind of like a melee combat game with a new character. It's Jesse's brother. This looks crazy. From that initial reveal trailer, we were instantly hooked. I don't know where they're going to go with the story. I don't know what's going on here, but there is a lot of potential for more zany Remedy shenanigans. They know how to cook up this stuff. I'm glad they're doing it. I'm glad they're still doing a sequel to Control, but again, keeping it fresh. We don't have a release date, but we know we're going to see it in 2026. Next at number 7, Onimusha, Way of the Sword. This franchise is coming back after a real long time, and I'm happy to see it return, but this time around it's with a new character, and it's a whole new adventure, so you don't have to have played the old game. Samanosuke is out, but what is in is some incredibly cool and flashy looking combat. We've seen a lot of cool, like, mythical samurai action games in recent years, but I think it's a good time for Onimusha to return because they've always felt a little different, a little weirder. And I mean, I gotta say, Capcom has had a really good track record of bringing back some of their franchises. I mean, look at what they've done with Resident Evil. Onimusha Revival could be really interesting to see go down. As of right now, it has no release date. It seems like they're focusing on Resident Evil 9 right now, but it is slated for sometime in 2026. Next, down at number 6, Nioh 3 marks the return to the fun Souls-like game, but they're really changing it up this time around with 2 kind of playable characters with different playable styles. But if it's anything like the previous 2 games, it's going to really have some tight combat, some great boss battles, and a boatload of challenge. These games are pretty damn tough. Nioh 2 had some bosses that were just downright bullshit, but hey, people love that, man. You love the challenge, and you don't have to wait too long because it's releasing February 6th. Now down at number 5, Phantom Blade Zero. This action combat adventure game just looks really, really cool. From its first reveal, where people weren't sure if it really looked real, to now seeing a bunch of gameplay and having previewed the game myself. It's got cool combat, a lot of focus on boss battles, and the potential for some really, really good combat moments. You have a lot of abilities at your disposal, you have a lot of different weapon types at your disposal, and kind of ultimate attacks. And when you combine that with some really incredible, over-the-top, smooth animations and a really good feeling parry and some great gore, Phantom Blade Zero could just be sick as hell. It's from a Chinese studio who hasn't really made their mark in the AAA scene yet, but Phantom Blade Zero looks like it has the chops. We'll see for sure when it releases September 8th. Now down at number 4, Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. Yes, everyone forgot about this one but me. This is from Skydance and Amy Hennig, one of the people behind the Uncharted games, the Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver games. Like, this is huge, potentially. Her working on a Marvel thing is very exciting, but for me particularly, it's because it's centered around Captain America and Black Panther, like behind enemy lines in World War II France. There is a ton of potential there, but also the game just just looks incredibly cinematic. They're really focusing on graphics here, and we haven't really seen like actual real genuine gameplay yet as far as I know. This one's also been dormant for a while. It was pretty quiet in 2025 and it was quietly delayed, and it was going to be early 2026. Now we know it's probably going to be later in 2026. I'm excited for them to just show us more of what the hell this game actually is. Like, what are we playing? Because again, as somebody who loves like the Ed Brubaker, Captain America comics and stuff like that, there could be some really, really cool stuff here. I hope this game still sees the light of day, if I'm being honest. Now down at number 3, Judas. This is the next game from Ken Levine, the creator of BioShock and of course BioShock Infinite. He spun off a different studio to make something different, a little bit more experimental. This kind of BioShock, very sci-fi game. Very little is known about it. There's been a couple of hands-on previews out there and some interviews, one with yours truly here. I did get to check out this game a few years back. That being said, I don't have any exclusive info for you here yet. We still don't know when this game is releasing, but the publisher behind Judas, 2K, they had said that they were expecting this game to be a 2025 release. It is now 2026, but if they were thinking 2025 and it slipped, that means it's gotta be 2026, right? It's gotta be far along. Who knows? Ken Levine, as a creative, of course, has a reputation for his games taking a really long time, but hopefully we finally see what they've been cooking this year. Who knows though? It could be 2026, it could be 2028. This is one of the big mysteries, but maybe we'll know for sure this year. Now down at number 2, Resident Evil Requiem, or Resident Evil 9, marks the return of Leon S. Kennedy. This time he's older, he's still badass, and he's back checking out Raccoon City, or at least what's left of it. It's a hybrid style game. You're playing kind of like action, cool, badass stuff as Leon Kennedy, and then you're playing as an Ashcroft for more subdued, more focused horror aspects. And I think that's a great kind of merging of the two Resident Evils that people have been experienced to as of recent years. The experimental new first person stuff with Resident Evil 7 and 8, and then what they've done with the great remakes of like Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4. It seems like a really good combo, and personally, as an old fan from day one, I'm just happy to see Leon Kennedy return, and I want to see what they're doing with the story, what kind of story they want to tell. Can they justify bringing him back? I hope they don't do him as dirty as they did Chris Redfield in Village, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. Thankfully, we're not waiting too long because it's releasing February 27th. And now, finally down at number 1, you know it, say it with me kids, Grand Theft Auto 6. Look, it might come out this year. We thought it was going to come out last year. God knows. It's been delayed. Now, as of right now, it's slated for November 19th, but that could slip. You never know. Rockstar games and Grand Theft Auto games are incredibly unpredictable, but this game has a massive amount of hype behind it. For all the kids who grew up playing Grand Theft Auto Online, yes, of course, but also the people who have been Grand Theft Auto junkies forever now are really looking forward to seeing what Rockstar can really do, how they can innovate, how they can push things, because of course, the pedigree behind Grand Theft Auto, the expectations, the expectation of quality, the bar Rockstar Games has set for telling stories, but also the boatload of money that Rockstar Games has. Can they put that money to good use and give us something that really feels like a massive leap, a next generation thing? We don't know for sure yet, but as of right now, like I said, GTA 6 is releasing November 19th, hopefully. Those are 20 games. I got a couple of bonus ones I did want to cram in here for you at the end. Halloween, the game, the asymmetrical horror game where you can play as Michael Myers or a bunch of his victims, is releasing September 8th. Might be a good little Halloween season game. Also, the extraction shooter from Bungie, the people behind, of course, Halo, and more recently, Destiny, are releasing Marathon. Who knows how this one's going to turn out, but I'm curious to see how it goes down. Also, Halo Campaign Evolved is a remake of the original Halo 1 campaign. A great campaign. But you might notice I'm talking about this in a PlayStation 5 video because yes, this is releasing on PS5. It is marking Halo, an Xbox franchise, on PlayStation. Truly historic, and we're curious to see it. But like I said, those were 20 or so PS5 games releasing in 2026. Hopefully all of them will. Either way, like I said, we can only fit 20, so let us know in the comments what you're looking forward to playing. If it's on this list, if it's not on this list, hit us up either way. If you like this video, clicking a like button helps us out. We really appreciate it. And if you're new, consider subscribing, hitting that notification bell, because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.